The self is the center and totality of the psyche. One of its synonyms is the inner God image. It's the transpersonal authority of the psyche. The ego is the smaller authority, and the self is the larger authority. When one has made a contact with the self, the ego then becomes relativized and recognizes that its life must be governed by an authority higher than itself. Now, what does such a recognition have to do with society? A great deal indeed. In a certain sense, we can say that society is the exteriorized mirror of the psyche. Every society has a leader of some sort. At one stage, it was the king or the president. Occasionally, it's an oligarchy of aristocrats. But always, in order for a society to be cohesive and exist organically, it has to have a central authority. That central, external, social authority is a mirror of the inner authority of the self. That's why when one has dreams of a king or of a president or of Washington, D.C., in most cases, those dreams refer to the self. So what's at issue here is the individual's relation to authority. If one has no connection to the self, and particularly when the ego is weak, when there's low level of psychological differentiation, especially in times of social turmoil and distress, there is a strong tendency for the self, the central organizing authority, principle of the psyche, to be projected. Because in times of turmoil, the compensatory aspect of the psyche activates, and turmoil then tends to constellate order. Disorder constellates order. Order in such circumstances often has to be imposed with some level of discipline and authoritarianism. And so what can happen in such cases then is that one gets massive collective projections of the self onto the leader, the Führer, for instance. That's what happened in Nazi Germany. It's a lesson of instruction of a magnitude that could hardly be exaggerated as to the dangers of the projection, the collective projection of the self. That's what happened in Nazi Germany. We see it happening in all sorts of charismatic religious cults. It's happening in small scale all over, scattered all around. And as we lose our containment in our conventional religious myth, this danger is going to become more and more operative, and it's probably the greatest threat to humanity, much greater than the nuclear bomb.